Boom, 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 boom. Now tell me what you gonna do, but it ain't nowhere to run. When judgment comes for you, when judgment comes for you, tell me what you gonna do, when it ain't nowhere to hide. When judgment comes for you, 'cause it's gonna come for you.
Looking it for quality, easy to see something Charlie. Little boo, but God got him, and I'm gonna miss everybody out of rolling clothes like I ain't looked at a while. Like I'm playing for dust, and they play too deep for beach side. Little legs like I too deep. Tell me your feature the seats, would it please? Marry me by my grand, your way you can go follow
God bless you, working on a plan to hit.
Backbone Wrestling Network. Welcome back to the CrosUp, your weekly look back at the week that was in professional wrestling. This week we'll be running through the results and happenings from Raw on November the 24th to SmackDown on November the 28th, as well as Full Gear and Survivor Series. We open Full Gear with Pac defeating Darby Allin when Wheeler Yuta provides enough of a distraction for Pac to hit Darby with his baseball bat. Directly in the face, just rams him right in the cheek and knocks him out. So he gets the pinfall victory from there. We got our fatal four-way to determine who gets to name the stipulation for their semifinal match in the tag team women's tournament. The Timeless Love Bombs of Mina Shirakawa and Timeless Toni Storm defeat the Sisters of Sin, the Babes of Wrath, and Megan Bayne and Shafir. Mina dives out to take out a group of people, and then Tony small packages Harley in the ring to get the win. And like I said, Timeless Love Bombs get to name their stipulation for their semifinal match against Marina Shafir and Megan Bayne. We then go to our World Tag Team title match where FTR defeats Brodito to become the new champions when they hit the Shatter Machine on Bandito. They kind of had singled him out in the ring towards the end of the match and hit him with bomb after bomb and finally get him down with the Shatter Machine for I think the second or third time in the kind of series of moves. We then go to our Casino Gauntlet for the new national title. Ricochet becomes our inaugural champion. He pins Kevin Knight after hitting him with the Spirit Gun. Kevin Knight had just hit the shooting star press, or the UFO splash, on somebody right before that. And as soon as he springed off, Ricochet hit him with the Spirit Gun and wins the match. The other participants in the match were Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, Claudio Castagnoli, Daniel Garcia, Orange Cassidy, Wheeler Yuta, Roderick Strong, Mark Davis, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Daddy Magic Matt Menard. We then go to our next match, No Holds Barred match, where Kyle O'Reilly defeats Jon Moxley once again via submission. He used the chain to help with the ankle lock in this one. And then after the match, Moxley beats him down, but kind of gives him a nod of respect before he leaves. So he beats his ass, but he also kind of acknowledges that he's made him tap 2 or 3 times in a row. We then go to Mark Briscoe defeating Kyle Fletcher. He does so via pinfall with the J Driller, and he is the new TNT champion. So Kyle Fletcher fell 1 defense short of breaking the TNT title defense record. We then go to the Young Bucks and Josh Alexander defeating Kenny Omega and the Jurassic Express when the Bucks hit the BTE trigger on Jack Perry. After the match, the Bucks get the $1 million, and Callis says they're in the family. The rest of the Don Callis family comes out and beats up Omega and the Express, with the Bucks kind of being dragged away by Don Callis. But the Bucks eventually come back, make the big save, make peace with the Jurassic Express, and they end up getting a big hug from Kenny Omega. Kenny is eventually helped to the back and even kind of collapses on the ramp on their way back. And the family seemingly leaves with all the money, so the Bucks are still broke, unfortunately. We then get Chris Statlander defeating Mercedes Moné via pinfall with the Saturday Night Fever to retain her AEW Women's World Championship and denying us 14 belts Moné. We go to the back with the Don Callis family. They're happy with having the money. Callis says that it's time for the team to come together with the Continental Classic. Konosuke Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, and Okada say they are in. Kyle seems a bit pissed that nobody was out there to really help him in this match earlier. So we're probably going to get some pretty tense moments in the next few weeks with all the heavy hitters in the Don Callis family being in the Continental Classic, which will start on Wednesday when I get to Dynamite. And then we go to our main event, our cage match, where Samoa Joe defeats Hangman Page via pinfall when Hook gets into the cage and cracks Hangman over the head with the title. So seemingly he was against the Ops, but rejoins the Ops here. And then Joe hits the Muscle Buster and becomes AEW champion once again. So Hangman Page's reign is unfortunately already over, which is sad, but I guess. And after the match was over, the Ops kind of celebrate a little bit, but Swerve Strickland comes out, and Hangman and him end up standing tall. So seemingly we're headed back for another Swerve championship reign, and they just needed to get it on a heel probably so he could eventually beat them. So, but as far as best match for Full Gear, I would go with the tag team title match. I would go with Brodito versus FTR. Really good tag match. Sad to see Rodito lose the tag titles because I've really enjoyed them as a team, but I think it was always going to be FTR that took it from them because I think they were supposed to take it from the Hurt Syndicate and it just didn't work out that way. We'll then go to Raw from there. We open with a recap of the setup of the men's war game with Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns, and Brock Lesnar being added in the last week and a half. Roman Reigns comes out to start the show. He gets the crowd to acknowledge him, but pretty much right after that, Cody Rhodes comes out, ask what they want to talk about. Rhodes says that Reigns is a man of his word, and the last time it was for a match. This time, though, it's for war. Rhodes wants to know what in this for Reigns, who says it's Rhodes who is brand new to this fight. They don't like each other and know each other all that well, but Reigns knows they both care about family. A lot of this team is his family, and before they were on his team, they were his bloodline. He's been invested in them for a long time, and he's here to see that investment through. Rhodes quickly says understood when he says that. He welcomes Reigns to his team, he says, which doesn't sit too well with Roman when he says that. CM Punk then comes out and tells the crowd to acknowledge all of them. He says, acknowledge us. Punk then remembers teaming with Reigns before, and Reigns remembers Punk ruining his life. He says that Punk says that's kind of true, but if Reigns stabs Punk in the back this Saturday, he'll stab his family in the back. Rhodes tries to cool things down, but Punk doesn't like that Rhodes is saying it's his show and his team because this is Monday Night Raw on Netflix. Cody can be the quarterback on Friday, but not on Monday. He's the champ here. Reigns finds this ridiculous and says that he hates Heyman and the Vision more than he hates the two of them. If we're being honest, he kind of says that title, but he looks at both guys. He said that they would look a lot better on his shoulders. Reigns then goes to leave, and Punk asks Reigns who he was talking to. Reigns says that's for them to figure out, and then just walks away. We then go to Paul Heyman in the back. He's with the Vision and tries to get Drew McIntyre to take tonight's Advantage War Games match, the tag match, seriously. Logan Paul mocks the idea that the partner is going to be Brock Lesnar, but Heyman tells Logan about what happens if Lesnar's name comes out of the wrong mouth. Instead, Logan Paul is going to be Drew's partner tonight, and Logan Paul says that is a wise choice. We then go to the Last Time Is Now tournament. Gunther defeats Carmelo Hayes to advance to the semifinals. He wins the match via pinfall following a big power bomb. He get kind of throwing some big bombs at the end of the match, and that was just the finishing touch on the end. We then go to Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns. They're still arguing in the back. The Usos come up and say they've got tonight's Advantage Tag Team match. They happen to be the greatest tag team ever, so we have the solution to their problem. And then they leave, and Reigns tells Punk and Rhodes to fix this whole team dynamic and get on the same page. We then go to Dom Mysterio. He promises to end John Cena's retirement tour in his hometown this weekend, continuing to prove that he is the greatest Mysterio of all time. Dom then brings up that Cena isn't here tonight, but cues Cena music, and then we get a mini John Cena, and he actually comes complete with a mini Stu the cameraman. So we've heard a lot about Stu the cameraman over the last year, so we even got a mini version of him, who seems to be like Cena's personal cameraman when he does the little run towards the ring. So obviously, Mini Cena runs towards the ring, but he can't do the slide under the ring or under the ropes that Cena usually does. Dom then insults the Mini Cena, calls him who eventually the Mini Cena calls him the worst Mysterio of all time. Dom then says he seemed that's not what him and the Mini Cena talked about and was supposed to say. and then Mini Cena challenges to a fight, but then gets kicked in the chest to the ground. Then Dom hits the 5-knuckle shuffle, a 619, and a frog splash, and then Rey Mysterio eventually comes out and chases him off. Rey Mysterio is then in our next match. He defeats Dom's Judgment Day buddy, JD McDonough, via pinfall with the 619 and springboard splash. After the match, Finn Balor goes after Mysterio, or Rey Mysterio, but Rey manages to slip away before too much damage can be done. We then go to Adam Pearce. He tells Raquel Rodriguez that she's in the mix for the Women's World title and the Intercontinental title. New Day comes in to complain about what's going on with the tag team titles, but Pearce snaps at them. He says apparently Dragon Lee and AJ Styles want to give them a title shot next week. And Grayson Waller is very excited for his buddies and even gives Pearce a wig as a parting gift, which pisses off Pearce even more. We see Brock Lesnar arriving in the arena. They just kind of show him walking in. We then go to Becky Lynch for a promo. She says her War Games team joins her before she eventually goes on a rant. She talks about how the decision that last week's title match will be overturned and she will be champion again. She thinks that should happen. Well, that was a mistake. AJ Lee made a bigger mistake last week. Now she's making an even bigger mistake, locking herself in a cage with Becky. Becky has assembled the greatest team in the history of War Games. She brags about how she put together all of these people, including Asuka, who she has beaten 9 out of 10 times, and Jax, who has great bones. Lynch doesn't have to wear a mask like Rotten Rhea Ripley, which brings out the face team. AJ Lee talks about how the old her would jump Lynch and break her apart, but unlike Lynch, she bites instead of barking. Rhea then gets the mic and instead of saying anything, she just cracks Nia over the head with it, and they start to brawl. Rhea and the faces clear the ring, and Io Sky eventually hits a huge moonsault out of the ring, and then it sends the heels kind of running to the back. We then get another Last Time Is Now tournament match. We get Solo Sikoa defeating Penta, but it's via injury stoppage. Penta had done a Hurricane Rana from like the barricade, and he came up holding his shoulder, so he kind of took a bad bump. So Solo, unfortunately, doesn't get to pin Penta, or Penta doesn't get to win. So Solo will go to the semifinals and face Gunther in the Last Time Is Now tournament. We then get a teaser of a women's version of the WrestleMania commercial. So they did the men's WrestleMania commercial, all the big stars, seemingly at the poker table. So we're going to get a women's version of that coming up later in the week. We then get Maxine Dupree. She can't believe she won the title last week and calls Natalya. Before that happens, a bunch of women come up and threaten to take her Intercontinental Championship from her. But Adam Pearce is there to kind of keep her out of trouble. We then go to Stephanie Vaquer. She's mad at Nikki Bella for betraying her and swears vengeance at Survivor Series. And then we get our main event where Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre defeat the Usos when most of the members of the War Games team come out and brawl, allowing Logan Paul to jump Jimmy Uso from behind and roll him up. And this gives Paul Heyman's, I call him Paul Heyman's team, the advantage at War Games. And then after the match, they continue to brawl with Roman Reigns coming in to clear house. They do kind of a stare down with the heels on the outside and the faces on the inside. Brock Lesnar then comes out, and he actually falls during his entrance, slipped on some water that was on the entranceway, but he makes an athletic move out of it and flips backwards to right back on his feet. And then the heels come get on the apron, but we don't have and then they end up brawling kind of to end the show. So a big brawl to kind of do the go home to Survivor Series and War Games. So, but as far as best match, Gunther and Carmelo Hayes was absolutely a banger. Definitely check it out if you haven't already. I'm sure you have, but if you haven't, definitely check that one out. We'll go from there to NXT. It's week 2 of Gold Rush. We kind of recap Gold Rush week number 1, and then we open with our Evolve Men's Championship match where Jackson Drake retains his championship over Sean Legacy via pinfall following the Unaliver. We then go to earlier today. Ethan Page came up to Sol Ruka and told her to stop worrying about Zarya. Miles Bourne comes in to kind of talk to Ethan Page, and Sol kind of leaves from there. Miles says that he's ready to face Trick Williams tonight, and Ethan Page says Trick only worries about himself, which is the right way to go. And then they kind of just stare at each other menacingly. We then get our Speed Women's Championship for the vacant title, the final of the tournament. And Fallon Henley defeats Cesaria via pinfall when Lania Reed provides a distraction, allowing Fallon to hit the Shining Wizard and Famouser in succession to become the new Women's Speed Champion. We then get our next Shiloh Hill promo. He talks about how important his dad was to him over the years and how he gave him a WrestleMania shirt right before he passed that meant a whole lot to him, and he even wore it all the time after his dad passed away. We then get John Cena picking the entrance for the Iron Survivor Challenges. He decides the men first. He says we will be seeing Javon Evans, Leon Slater, Joe Hendry, Deion Lennox of Dark State, and the winner of tonight's main event between Miles Bourne and Trick Williams. We then look back at last week where the culling turned on Tana Paxley and cost her NXT Women's title. We then go to our next match where Lei Ying Lee defeats Kalani Jordan and Jordan Grace when Grace hits the torture rack bomb on Kalani, only for Lei Ying Lee to hit a kick on Grace, and then Lee steals the pin on Kalani Jordan to become new TNA Knockouts champion. So we finally got a TNA Knockout as Knockouts champion, seemingly probably going to be for a while. Until they figure out who from TNA is going to beat Lei Ying Lee. But good little run by Kalani. Obviously, she was sort of a fill-in for Ash by Elegance, but we will see what Lei Ying Lee can do going forward. We then go to Fatal Influence. They're happy with their success and say that Lania Reed is the final piece of the puzzle and she can win the Evolve Women's title later on. Ava comes in to say that there will be absolutely no interference in that match, so Lanie won't have the advantage that the other two seemingly had. We then get a sit-down interview with Ricky Saints. He talks about how important it will be to face Obafemi at Deadline. Yes, he beat Femi before, but now he's not so sure he can do it again. Now he's gotten all kinds of questions and people wondering if he can do it. What does it mean if he can't again? All he knows is he's going to prove that the impossible is possible because he is Ricky Saints. We then get Kendall Gray. She defeats Lanie Reed via pinfall following a Shades of Grey to retain her Evolve Women's Championship. So Lanie was not able to complete the three-peat for the titles for Fatal Influence. We then go to Dark State. They're excited to be tag team champions, but they're even more excited that one of their own has a chance to become the NXT champion as well. We then go to John Cena. He announces the Women's Iron Survivor Challenge field. He goes with Sol Ruka, Lola Vice, Kalani Jordan, Jordan Grace, and even gives Evolve Women's champion Kendall Gray a spot as she's kind of emerged lately. And then we get our main event where Miles Bourne defeats Trick Williams via pinfall after hitting two Born Agains, one on the floor and one in the ring. Like I said earlier, this qualifies Bourne for the Iron Survivor match. After the match, Dark State surrounds the ring, but Hendry, Slater, and Evans all run out and have kind of a stare down, kind of like we had at the end of Raw. But this one does not get physical. So all the other Iron Survivor Challenge people came out to kind of defend against Dark State. The Knockouts title match was an absolute banger. Obviously, check that one out if you haven't so far. So really good three-way between those two women, or those three women, I mean. But we will go from there. We go to Dynamite. We look at the Don Callis family's issues at Full Gear, which was a rough night for the team overall. We then go to Kyle Fletcher defeating Kazuchika Okada in a Don Callis versus Don Callis match. This is the opening for the Continental Classic as well. Fletcher wins the match ducking a Rainmaker, and he turns it into a victory roll attempt, and that earns him 3 points into the Gold League of the Continental Classic. They shake hands after the match, but Okada kind of wanted to give him the middle finger, but doesn't end up doing so because he likes Fletcher. We then go to a recap of the Elite's reunion at Full Gear. Kenny Omega gets interviewed and says it's complicated. He hasn't been the model friends, but maybe the Bucks deserve a second chance. And then he kind of goes back into the locker room, and the Bucks come back out and kind of just have a weird stare down with Lexi Nair instead of getting interviewed. We then go to, after winning the TNT title, a bloody Mark Briscoe talks about how he wasn't sure he wanted to keep wrestling after losing his brother. Then it was loss after loss, but the conglomeration became his road family. The title is now for his road family and his real family. And then we go to our women's tag team title tournament. We get the Babes of Wrath defeating the Sisters of Sin when Willow hits the Babe with a power bomb on Julia Hart. This actually advances the Babes of Wrath to the women's tag team title final. So they might be a Cinderella that ends up getting this thing. So we'll see who they end up facing on the other side. We then get the Ops out for a chat. Before Samoa Joe can get too far into it, Swerve Strickland and Hangman Page each come out carrying a chain through the crowd. Joe sends Shibata after them and talks about how brilliant he really is. We see a package of how Hook swerved everyone the entire time, which still doesn't feel like a big shock. Hook comes out to brag, but he is... but how smart he is. But Page and Strickland are here to wreck the Ops lackeys. The Ops then leave, and Page and Strickland use their chains to beat up the kind of crony security guards that Samoa Joe had out of the ring, and they kind of hang them. They get a couple of them and hang them over the top rope. So pretty good beat down by Hangman and Swerve. So Swerve and Hangman were kind of operating the whole time. They were operating around the back, but they kind of continued to cut the promos. So then we go to after his Full Gear loss. Jon Moxley says he's feeling fine after his match with Kyle O'Reilly and is ready to keep going and carry on into the Continental Classic. He does so, defeating Mascara Dorado via submission with a guillotine choke. This earns Mox 3 points in the Blue League. Post-match, Marina Shafir comes into the ring with Moxley, but Toni Storm comes out. Storm praises Moxley, but she operates in love rather than hatred. As for Shafir, it's time to start thinking of the right kind of match. She woke up next to Mina Shirakawa this morning, realizing she hadn't gotten Shirakawa anything for Christmas. Before next week, they will have an anything goes death match, as she says. So we'll have a death match on our other semifinal for the tag team titles. We then go to Chris Statlander. She's ready to face someone else other than Mercedes Moné. And she knows where she's going, and that is up, and who is coming with her. We then get Kevin Knight defeating Darby Allin via pinfall following the UFO splash. This gets him 3 points in the Gold League, so Kevin Knight kind of gets an upset there. We look back at FTR winning the tag team titles at Full Gear. Eddie Kingston then cuts promo, says he doesn't want to talk about Hook, but he heard Samoa Joe mention his name. He's not in line for a title shot, but maybe he would be if he beats Katsuyori Shibata on Collision, and the match is made for Thursday. We then get Claudio Castagnoli. He defeats Orange Cassidy via pinfall following Swiss Death. This earns him 3 points in the Blue League. Post-match, the Death Riders come in for a beatdown, but most of the people in the Continental Classic come in for a big brawl. I don't think they thought this segment out because there are many more heels than faces in this thing, and it ends up kind of just being like Speedball, Kevin Knight, and Dorado kind of fighting for the face side. So it's kind of like the Don Callis family and all of the Death Riders, pretty much, it seems like. But yeah, kind of a uneven brawl, but the faces somehow end up standing tall at the end somehow. So Orange Cassidy's in there and for the faces as well, but I think there's only like 4 or 5 of them. So but the match of the night was the Don Callis family clash, Okada and Fletcher. No shock there. Claudio and Orange was good as well, but I would go with the opener for best match. Like I said, Collision was on Thursday this week, so we'll run right into that. We open with Pac defeating Mike Bailey via submission with a brutalizer. Pac earns 3 points in the Gold League with this victory. We then go to Daniel Garcia. He's with Jon Moxley, and he is ready to end Matt Menard and get some gold back on his shoulder. We go to Bandito and Brody King. He takes the blame for their tag team title loss at Full Gear. Brody King says the team isn't over and they want the belts back eventually. But for now, Brody King tells Bandito to retain his ROH world title at Final Battle. And apparently, Roosh is out of the world title match, so Bandito is actually going to defend it in a survival of honor or something like that. It's like a 5-way match against Sammy Guevara, Beast Mortos, Commander, Hinchicero, and Blake Christian. So I want to say it's maybe like a gauntlet match kind of situation, but Bandito's no longer going one-on-one with anybody, but defending it in a 5 or 6 way. Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, 6 way. I think it's called a survival of the fittest match, by the way. Daniel Garcia in the next match defeats Matt Menard via submission with the Bulldog choke. After the match, Mark Briscoe interrupts a beatdown, and he says he's thankful to be in Nashville and to be your TNT champion, but he's also thankful for Daniel Garcia saying he wanted the TNT championship. Briscoe has been wondering who he should face first, and now he's going to devour Garcia like he's going to devour turkey and macaroni and cheese tonight. We then go to Ricochet. He lists off the names that he's beaten already, and that we should be glad that he is our national champion. We then get FTR coming out to brag about winning the tag team titles back. Stokely Hathaway talks about how FTR keeps overcoming obstacle after obstacle. The Bang Bang Gang that comes out and interrupts Juice Robinson and Austin Gunn. The gang talks about how they're the most recent team to beat FTR and don't want to hear about FTR's greatness again. Over the weekend, the Bang Bang Gang won a tailgate brawl match for $200,000, and now they want some gold to go with the green. The gang then slaps the title out of Dax's hand and won a title shot, but FTR bails instead of getting physical. So that seems to be the first feud for the new champs. We then get a 6-man tag. We get the Outrunners defeating the Outrunners and Dalton Castle defeating MXMTV. So this is their casting call for the week. But Castle hits the bangerang on Mansois to get the win. After the match, Ricochet and the rest of the Demand come out to interrupt their celebration. The Outrunners and Castle get beaten down, so Ricochet ends up going over to some country singer named Michael Ray, kind of gets in his face, and they tease a little brawl with Michael kind of hopping over the barricade, but they end up getting held apart before anything can get too far. The Don Callis family is grateful for various things that kind of go through each member and say that they're thankful, what they're thankful for, but it gets to Okada, and he is thankful he doesn't have to team with Takeshita any longer. We then go to Eddie Kingston and Katsuyori Shibata via pinfall following a DDT. After the match, Kingston says he won't comment on what Hook did once again. Says he never wanted to just play a character. Instead, he is pro wrestling because he loves these people who love pro wrestling. He's the guy that wants to inspire someone to get into the wrestling one day, even though I'm pretty sure right after that he says, don't do it. He says, then there's Samoa Joe, who took the AEW world title from Hangman Page. Kingston says, he only gets peace when he's in the ring. So Joe needs to defend the title against him at Winter is Coming, which is a big Dynamite coming pretty soon. We then go to Red Velvet. She mocks Mercedes Moné for not winning at Full Gear, and she wants her rematch for her Ring of Honor TV championship at Final Battle next Friday. We then go to Tekla defeating Tay Mello via pinfall following a stomp. After the match, the Sisters of Sin come out for a beatdown, but Jamie Hayter and Chris Statlander come out to kind of ward them off. And then we get our main event where Takeshita defeats Roderick Strong via pinfall following the Raging Fire. This earns Takeshita 3 points in the Blue League, and that is the best match on the show. Definitely check it out. Anytime Takeshita is in the ring is usually a really fun time. We will go to Impact. It was mostly a highlight show, but there were a few matches. So I will cover those and kind of the rest of the stuff that happened. But it was mostly a review show, kind of with some old highlights and stuff like that. But we open with our annual Turkey Bowl match. It opens the show, and it's kind of a 6-way match. But it ends with Brian Myers hitting the roster cut, which is his big top rope elbow, on Ryan Nemeth. So Ryan Nemeth gets pinned, and Ryan has to spend the rest of the episode wearing the turkey costume. It's kind of become a tradition in TNA. But the other participants in the match were the Hometown Man, Eric Young, Mance Warner, and Trey Miguel. When they go to the Elegance brand, they're still looking for Mr. Elegance. They want someone attractive, tough, and talented. And the resumes are being accepted to a email address that they posted on the screen. So if you want to be Mr. Elegance, check out TNA and send your tape in for them. We then show a Trick Williams and Mustafa Ali versus Santana and Leon Slater tag match that happened on Impact in September, I believe, is when it happened. We then go to Ryan Nemeth. He is annoyed with having to wear the turkey suit, but he also hates Christmas as well. So Krampus comes out to have a match with Ryan Nemeth, so we get a second Ryan Nemeth match. But Ryan is able to win this one. He uses an eye poke on Krampus as he has the ref distracted. And then he rolls Krampus up to get the victory. So he's 1 for 1 so far tonight. We then look back at Lei Ying Lee winning the Knockouts title on NXT, and Lee is so happy. She can't hold back tears with how happy she is that she's finally a champion. We then get shown a concert that happened after they went off air from earlier in the year, where Joe Hendry and Jeff Hardy do some singing. They sing My Sacrifice by Creed, and Jeff Hardy actually sings his old theme song, Modest, which popped me, being a Highway to the Impact Zone co-host, or host, honestly. So that was a big pop, a nostalgia pop there for me. And then Nimitz then come out and interrupt and say they come in peace. Ryan wants to sing for his big brother, Nick, and ends up doing like a version of Pina Colada that's all about Nick Nemeth. And then Hardy and Hendry end up cleaning house. We then go back to a moment from a 2007 Thanksgiving episode that happened at Kurt Angle's house that ends in a big food fight. Obviously, calamity just continues to happen throughout that. It actually was a pretty long segment, so I'm surprised they aired the whole thing. We then go to Santino Marella. He is not happy with Ryan Nemeth, so he's actually going to be in a third match. We then get the system, all the members except JDC, but they team with Leon Slater, and they defeat Ryan Nemeth, Jake Something, and First Class, which is AJ Francis and Rich Swann, and Slater wins the match by hitting Nemeth with the Swanton 450 and getting the pinfall victory. I really don't have to give a best match in this scenario, but I gave it to the main event just because I usually give shows that I cover a best match, so I'll go with the system. And the system and Slater versus the group of heels that they defeated in that match. But we will go to SmackDown before we close with Survivor Series. We get an opening recap of the Women's War Games match to open SmackDown. We get LA Knight coming into the arena. He's told he's facing another mystery opponent. He's not too happy about this, as the tournament is starting to get on his nerves. He says, just say who he's facing and who he's going to be dropping with a BFT tonight. Yeah. We then get Last Time Is Now tournament match to start the show. We get Jey Uso defeating Rusev via pinfall following a spear and Uso splash. This moves Jey into the semifinals. We then go to Nick Aldis's office. Miz begs him to put him in Sheamus' spot in the tournament. Aldis to do himself, picking from the tumbler. R-Truth comes in and makes his balls joke again. The name is picked, and how ironic it is, The Miz. And Truth then pops in with the phrase, "You just couldn't take my balls, could you?" So pretty good spot there for R-Truth. But Miz, disappointingly, is the mystery opponent for tonight. We then go to Damian Priest. He doesn't know what Aleister Black and Zelina are talking about with making him break his code. Zelina comes in to mock him, and another fight with Aleister is teased as he's kind of in the background. Zelina walks away, and then Rhea Ripley comes up to hug her buddy Priest and has an idea for him later, and they kind of walk off, and Priest is seeming accepting of this idea. We then get Chelsea Green. She's with Alba Fire. She's out to address her Patriots instead of Patriots. It's Patriots as the new Women's United States Champion. She thanks the fans and brags about her success, but here is Jade Cargill to interrupt and beat both of them up. And as they're as Chelsea and Alba are kind of going towards the back, Chelsea's pyro that she had planned goes off and kind of scares them as they're kind of sneaking away. But Chelsea continues to say she's the best women's champion in history, and Jade continues to have a problem with that idea. We then get Rhea Ripley and her team. They're fired up for Charlotte to take on Asuka in the Advantage match later tonight. So we will see that match later on. Jade Cargill has a problem with anyone who runs their mouth. B-Fab comes up for a stare down, but doesn't end up saying anything. Michin comes in and says something, though, and thinks that something might have to be done about Jade and how ruthless she seems to be, beating up people for no reason. We then get LA Knight. He obviously defeats The Miz via pinfall following the BFT. This advances Knight into a match with Jey Uso to see who makes it to the final of the Last Time Is Now tournament. So it's going to be LA Knight versus Jey Uso on one side, and Solo and Gunther facing off on the other side. So definitely going to get a heel and a face on each side or on both sides of the equation. We then go to Becky Lynch. She wants the team to follow her lead in War Games because she's kind of great at this thing. The team then says they have this, though, don't worry, with Asuka being ready for the advantage match later. We then get video kind of hyping up tonight's Survivor Series match. So obviously we'll have a main event where we have a Survivor Series elimination style match. We then get Ilya Dragunov getting interviewed. He talks about how he's ready for Tama Tonga to come challenge him for his United States Championship. Tommaso Ciampa then comes in. Ciampa took Axiom's mask last week and obviously kept it as a kind of a token. And then he says next time it's going to be Dragunov's United States Championship. Dragunov then calls him a jackass, and then he kind of walks off and leaves Ciampa all pissed and befuddled. Then we get Charlotte Flair defeating Asuka via pinfall following natural selection. This wins the face women the advantage in War Games. And then we get a video of the men's War Games match, kind of hyping it up before we go to our main event, where the MFTs of Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, Tala Tonga, and JC Mateo defeat Team Sami Zayn of Sami Zayn, the Motor City Machine Guns, Rey Fenix, and Shinsuke Nakamura. It comes down to Solo and Sami, but Solo is able to get advantage of Sami and hits him with the Samoan Spike. After the match, the Wyatt Six come out and continue to tease the eventual match that they'll have with the MFTs, with Uncle Howdy eventually giving Sikoa Sister Abigail to end the show. That match was very long, but very good at the same time. Came down with some good drama between Solo and Sami, but obviously the MFTs get the win, but a solid Survivor Series match nonetheless. And then we will go to Survivor Series, short card, only 4 matches, no bullshit, no real promos, just a couple of commercials throughout. But we open with our women's War Games. AJ Lee, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky defeat Lash Legend, Nia Jax, Becky Lynch, Asuka, and Kairi Sane in the women's War Games when AJ eventually gets Becky to tap to the octopus stretch. So AJ with another big win in that match. So we'll see where all those women kind of go from here. But obviously the feud between Becky and AJ carries on. We then get our IC title match where Dom Mysterio defeats John Cena to win back his Intercontinental Championship. When Liv Morgan returns, slaps Dom at first, but then low-blowing John Cena as well, allowing Dom to hit the 619 and a frog splash to win back his championship, like I said. And then we get Stephanie Vaquer defeating Nikki Bella via pinfall, following the Sky Twister press to retain her women's world title. And then we go to our men's War Games match to wrap up this week's episode. When Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Brock Lesnar, Drew McIntyre, and Logan Paul defeat the Usos, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and CM Punk, when a mystery person in a hood and kind of had a mask over his face comes in, does the stomp to CM Punk, obviously somewhat trying to imply that it's Seth Rollins. Obviously, it can't be Rollins as he's been put out for quite a while. But off of that, Braun Breaker seems kind of shocked, but ends up hitting the super spear on CM Punk, and then he gets the pinfall. We kind of get a bit of a confrontation in the show where Reigns and Punk do a kind of a fist pound to say that they kind of still respect each other, even though they don't really like each other at the same time. But things get tense with Cody and Roman, and they kind of have some words with each other. So we'll see if they kind of continue to push that forward, see if we maybe get Reigns versus Rhodes 3 at WrestleMania, but we'll see as we go forward. As far as best match, I thought Dom and Cena kind of over-delivered. So that match was better than I was expecting it to be, but the men's War Games would be the best match of the night for me. The ending kind of was wet fartish, but the match up until that point was pretty great, so I'll give them kind of a break. But that match was definitely the stronger match. Kind of a weaker set of War Games matches, I would say. They weren't bad at all. Obviously, the men's match was pretty great, like I said, but just a complete set of both of them is kind of just a little more mad than usual. But I like I said, I would definitely go with the men's match as the best match of the show. So, as always, thank you for joining me, just like you do every week. hope you enjoyed all of the wrestling this week, and we will see you next time to cover some more.
About to blow, waiting for